Good
Yep.
afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 3-year-old child?
Mm.
Is
No,
admission to
yes,
pre-nursery
we don't seem to be.
is admission dinner table talk at your homes? Are you contemplating on a pre-nursery in a preschool or pre-nursery in a K-12 school? If the answer to any one of these questions is yes, you are at the right place at the right time. Please stay tuned in. This is for the viewers, of course, and you will get to hear the viewpoints of our experts in the panel today, and you'll be in a better position to make an informed choice. As I said, I'm Geeta Sehgal, and I'm joined by Mrs. Aruna Singh. She is the principal of Shalom Presidency School, Gurgaon. She comes to us with an experience of almost 3 decades. She is an avid painter and an author and an NPL practitioner. I'm also joined in by Tulika Negi. She is head at Cradle to Crayon at Gurgaon. It's a preschool, and she's very passionate about what she does, and small children definitely interest her a lot. She's been in the school for, if I'm correct, about 6 years now, Tulika. Yeah. And I'm also joined in by Beena Nangia. Beena Nangia is a pioneer in the field of special education. She comes to us with over 25 years of experience. She is associated with a number of reputed schools, DPS Mathura Road, MET, Welham Boys, Mayo College, Loreto Convent, and many others. I'll begin with putting in a few words for preschools. Preschools have been mushrooming in Delhi, NCR, and in many parts of the country for the last 2.5 decades. They have catered to the toddlers, to their emotions, to their social upbringing, and to all other parameters. And they prepare toddlers for the formal education. Their success story prompted K-12 schools to jump into the fray. With the results, today's parent is spoiled for choices. More the choices, more the confusion. So let us clear few of these confusions in today's episode. I'll first come to Tulika Negi. Tulika, the curriculum in a preschool is designed as per the preschool's objectives, the objectives the preschool believes in. Can you tell me, with the fair amount of flexibility that you have and the greater maneuverability of, about the curriculum, any 2 learning objectives that are met with by the curriculum that you have?
All right. See, Geeta, any school's preschool curriculum would be, and I'm sure is based on few parameters. You know what? The parents are looking at social, the emotional, the the social skills, the emotional skills, the physical development, and above all the cognitive. Because when the children, they step into our preschool, they're hardly 2.5 years old. All are below 3 years. So half of them have not even yet, started interacting with outsiders. They have been so much into a protective environment. They're seeing the adults for the first time outside. Either they're too close to their parents, grandparents, or their nannies at home. So, to bring them out of that shell, I would call it a shell only. To bring them out of that shell, we have to, make sure whatever the curriculum, it could be a, best practices mix of, if you look at Montessori, it is too vast. If you look at Reggio Emilia, little, difficult for an Indian scenario. So to make a good amalgamation of best practices, the idea is first and foremost, the child should open up, to the adults that the child is meeting outside. It could be, through a classroom activity, it could be outside, but whatever the activities, or it could be a simple song also to begin with. The child takes, each child is different. A child settles in a day. Day one, the child is all happy, going gaga over everything, makes a relationship with the teacher or with the classmates. But a child may take a month also. So, to keep all that in mind, the first and foremost priority is to make them comfortable at home in the school, to make them happy. They should go back happy home. Yeah.
Yeah, very right, Tulika. So happiness is one factor that
Yes. The major
helps you
factor.
decide the
Yeah.
curriculum, right?
Yes. Yes.
Can I come to you, Aruna Singh, now? In a K-12 school, the curriculum is more structured just because it is a stepping stone from one class to the other. And you move up from the primary to the middle to the secondary and the senior secondary stage. Does this structure in your curriculum trickle down to the preschoolers also, or the pre-nursery children? How do you relate the structured curriculum to a preschooler? I can't hear you. I think your mic is not working. I can't hear you,
Okay,
Aruna.
okay. All right. I'm fine now?
Yeah.
Right. Yes, we do construct our curriculum from the pre-nursery to the classes above. And that is the best thing about a K-12 school who is catering to pre-primary. That is, they connect the curriculum from one class to the next one. They grow from one class to another. And so there is no shock treatment to the child, such a small poor thing. When he moves from one school to another, there are a lot of shock treatments that happen. The first is the environment, the second is the building, then the third is the whole new setup. All these things actually make the child, very difficult for him to adjust to the new thing, and it certainly takes a longer time to adjust. Children are always very easily adjustable, but certainly they take more time, more energy to adjust. And at times, yes, we do see tantrums also, that I don't want to be here, I don't want to go back to my previous school, and
Absolutely.
all that happens. But if the
Absolutely.
child joins in a K-12 school since the beginning, then he's just growing step by step. So he has no hiccups. He doesn't have to adjust to anything. He is absolutely content and rooted to the school.
Okay, that is very well said. That's definitely well said. Now, can I come to Bina Nangia, please? Mrs. Nangia, what kind of curriculum do you think helps a child to develop his social and emotional quotient? Should it be structured? Should it be flexible? What is the gamut of curriculum that one school can look at?
Thank you, Geeta. And can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So now, as a child psychologist with an experience of almost 30 years in schools and with children, let me tell you that we need not overlook one aspect, which is the pre-skills or the readiness for the school. Okay, whether it is the preschool setup or it is a big school K-12 setup, what I am looking at is the readiness. Is the child ready to go to any of these? Okay, because the emotional quotient, like you just now said, varies with every child, not that everybody would have the same readiness. So I would suggest that parents need to build up on the pre-skills, the readiness skills. Okay, so when Tulika did say that they have to come and adjust, it is not so easy unless they have been emotionally stable before they enter either of these. Okay, the choice is good, depends on whether you want something close by home, or whether you're comfortable with a small number setup, or you want to go to a bigger school, like Aruna said, that you could straight away go and there's no need for a shock that comes in. But I would really suggest, that parents have to see whether the readiness is there. Okay, which means the emotional quotient. Okay, which means, are they having anything that would predispose a condition of emotional distress when they get into school? Which means, is there bedwetting? Is there thumb sucking? Is there a lack of social skills? Is there something where the child has never been exposed to, you know, a setup where he's on his own? There are so many children who straight away are so protected from home and then suddenly go into either a preschool or a big school setup. So I always ask parents to spend time, first of all, to find out the credentials and how comfortable their child is going to be. Every child is different. Sometimes you have an introverted child and sometimes you have an extroverted. So depending on that, you need to choose where he has to go.
Very well taken. The clues that you've given about thumbs up sucking and bed wetting are very important factors which a parent must keep in mind. Coming back to you, Tulika, when infrastructure is a very important aspect of school,
Absolutely.
let us visualize a parent walking in a preschool with a toddler, and the color and the vibrance of the place, the child is so attracted that he wants to free himself from the parent's hand and wants to go and explore.
Yes.
So I would want you to tell me, how is any one learning objective met with the help of the infrastructure that you have in your school?
All right. See, first and foremost, it should be very, very well lit and ventilated. Well lit, I don't mean the artificial lights. I'm not talking about the LEDs. I'm not talking about these bulbs. I'm talking about, you know, as the child enters, he should not feel he's going to be confined somewhere. You know, he should be able to watch outside. He should be able to see outside. There has to be a sense of security. He should not feel that once he's entered, no, he won't be able to go out, or oh, he won't be able to look out. You know, there has to be nice. You can have what I try to do is I've created some birds. You know, it's like made of pottery birds. So they're outside. As soon as the child enters the school, is very happy to see them. They may, you know, take them for real also. So they want to run and, you know, feel birdie, they shout birdie, or they walk in. Another thing, you know, is the positivity of the people who are at the reception. Of course, the staff inside also, right from guard. So the guard should also be very welcoming. The guard should be addressing. He should not only be welcoming the parents, the child as well. If he's wishing the parents, he should wish the child as well. The child feels, you know, sense of relationship there. So walks inside. Color is, like you said, vibrant colors do make a lot of difference. But more than that, you know, it's not, the child should feel, oh, this is going to be my place. I'll be free here. I would not be, you know, my parents would not go away and I would not be, you know, confined to some classroom or something. There should be a lot of, you should say, a play space or an activity space as well. You know, it could be anything. It could be slides, it could be a sand pit, anything.
So play is very important for children at that stage, and they learn through playway methods. Coming to you, Karuna Singh, an infrastructure in a K-12 school will definitely be different because you cater to children right from 3 years to 16, 17 years, and there's abundance of infrastructure. How do you use this as an advantage for the preschoolers?
There is a lot of advantage. First of all, we have got a segregated area for the preschoolers. They have got a play area, they have got a nap area, they have got their circle time activity area. All these are segregated. But the advantage comes in where you have the grounds and where you have the auditoriums. So over there, you know, the skills which we are trying to build up can be easily done with the help of all these infrastructure that you have, right? It can be used by everybody. So especially because we do a lot of functions with these preschoolers, primary wing rather, I would say that, not the preschoolers. So these guys, they have literally a presentation every second day. They keep doing something or the other. They go on to the stage. So all these bring up the qualities and the life skills and the confidence and the oratory skills, the learning skills, and the discipline also comes in that process, you know, that they have to behave the way they have to when they are going into these places.
Great,
and
very nice.
I believe that the infrastructure, of course, the grounds, the kitchen gardens that we have, and the flowers and the pots that we have, all these, you know, help them in building up their knowledge, the vocabulary, because we go for a nature walk with them. So they are able to see all these things. So it's great fun to be with these smaller ones.
I think nature walks is very important. So is exposure to theatre and
Exactly.
performing arts, which children
Exactly.
really enjoy. Coming to you, Mrs. Beena Nangia, uh, gone are the days. We've come long, long away from the Gurukul days, where the only infrastructure was a tree, a guru, and the children. And they learned from the sermons the gurus gave them. We have moved away and the scenario has changed. How important is infrastructure for a child to help him to learn, to help him to develop his personality and to grow beautifully?
Yeah, Geeta. I don't know whether in the middle of a discussion of choosing between the two, what comes to my mind with the scenario that we are in nowadays is teaching kids self-protection, self-awareness, the good bad touch, and about strangers. Whether you go into a preschool or whether you go into a K-12, whether there is infrastructure, what matters to me is teaching the kids before they get into any unknown situation about self-protection, body awareness. You know, there's so many things happening. So we should be, not pretending that it doesn't happen, but be fully aware that I need to teach my kid the good, bad touch, okay? And about strangers, about the communication that the child is free to come and tell home, whatever situation it would be. Yeah, the infrastructure, of course, matters, like you asked me. Of course, that helps in the learning and the growth of the kid. But I'm looking at the emotional growth and the emotional stability, which is the base and after which the child is going to progress, whether he is in whichever setup. So I think it's very important within present day scenario to start off very early to make them aware of their body parts, about strangers, about the good and bad touch. So of course, like you asked me about the infrastructure, one could go into a very small setup near home where there is enough playthings, and the child is happy and is just being a part of to start a learning process, like you rightly said about a gurukulam. Okay, in the good old days, that was where you were allowed to blossom and grow according to your own pace. That doesn't happen now because there's too much of competition and parents are looking for the best place where the kids can go. And even a 2-year-old is supposed to go through so many skills before they actually enter into either. So for me, the pre-skill, the readiness for getting into any situation, plus the self-protection, the communication, that if there is something going wrong, I need to come back and report it to my mom or dad. Be comfortable with whatever is going on. So that is how I look at it.
Wonderful, great idea that you've shared with us. Tulika, if I can come back to you, you have so many parents who come and visit you for admissions with their children.
Yes,
What are
yes.
the two major concerns that they have, which are repeated by parent come and ask you the same thing?
Okay, see, our children are very small, so obviously we have very young parents, some are first-time parents. The children would be moving out for the first time. First and the foremost is the separation anxiety. Geeta, I'll tell you, there are many times when we've counseled the parents. The child has been all fine. It's the parents' anxiety which is getting transferred to the child. And second, of course, the safety. Safety is the foremost thing. Like just now, the way Mrs. Nangia mentioned, with today's scenario and so many cases, unpleasant cases coming up, security is the foremost they are worried about. So I think, that is where our role comes in. We have to give them that trust. We have to give them that assurance with, with the expertise, whatever you call it, through our counselors or with the kind of teachers or the staff that we keep. We have to give them that assurance, and not just once. It is a continuous process. Any moment of any time they step into the school, any moment of the day, any time if they walk in, there has to be a transparency. They should feel comfortable. That's the, I think, advantage of a preschool. Since it's a small unit, we can have one-to-one interaction. It becomes like a small family. The child is also comfortable with each and every staff member because there are limited people. So for example, if a teacher is absent on a day, the child shouldn't feel unsettled or disturbed because there are other people to take care, and he's already familiar with the other people here.
Yeah, the comfort level is very important, and
Very
happiness, yes, is
happiness
very
is
important.
major thing. This is my experience. I've been with this age group now almost 12 years. That is the major thing. Once that is in your pocket, everything is, solved. Everything. It's a piece of cakewalk after that. Yes. The child is happy, parent is happy. Yeah.
Aruna Singh, can you tell me what are the concerns parents generally have when they come to you for admissions?
Most of the time, it is again the same thing as she has said. The basic thing they look at is the comfort. And second thing is again the security. And third thing is the what are the takeaways that they are going to have.
Okay.
Like the child has entered your school, so what is it going to be like? Is it going to be just ABCDs you're going to teach? So nowadays the parents, they are more aware. They don't want the children to be starting off learning ABCDs from day one and writing them and all that. That is going to be a long run process. It is not something which is going to happen immediately. So they really ask you questions about these things, and what are the general areas that the children are going to use, and what is the security system, how many people are there to look after the child. So these are the questions, most of the time we get.
How does a classroom setting help the child to settle down?
We change it very frequently. We have circle time activities. We have 4 children sitting at times. We have like they put them into a semicircle. We keep changing the settings. It's not a permanent setting that the children have, until unless they have to write something, until unless that age does not come. It is a comfortable settings that we keep changing so that the child feels attracted. He feels happy coming to the class. And the teachers who are welcoming the children is also different methods and ways we use, to say that every day. Someday it is a clapping, someday it is a welcome, someday it is, search for your teacher. Something or the other keeps happening. It is always a new thing.
According to you, Aruna Singh, how important is writing for preschoolers?
Not in the first year, at least. Not at all. They can do their crayons, they can do their colorings, they can do all that, and they have to first learn how to hold the pencil right. And until unless that age does not come, we don't have to force them to learn ABCDs. They will be learning later on. It's most of it is how they are going to memorize the things. It's mostly rhymes, and it is all word building and social skills, drawing, colors, identification. All these come into the first picture. Writing comes later.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Beena Nangia, how much of experimentation should go into children at this level? Learning by experiments and all.
You mean in the school?
Yeah, in the school.
Yeah. See, we have different types of learners, right? And we would have auditory learners, visual learners, kinesthetic learners. So I feel that if the teachers are trained at that level, at that age when the children come in, they are able to pick up that. Whether the child is a combination of an auditory learner, a visual or a kinesthetic. And so what happens is, when they are very aware of this learning style, then it is easy to incorporate that, because it's not like one system for all. It is not like, okay, everybody is singing and dancing, whereas there are some who may not want to do a kinesthetic method. So I think that training is very important, so that we don't miss out some very, very vital cases who are emotionally not ready for learning, or who have a different style of learning. I talk like this because I am a consultant with special ed. And so I know that if we miss out something at that level, which could be special needs, right? Then that could be detrimental. Yeah.
Beena Nangia, you being a child psychologist, you would be able to identify children with different needs. What would you want to tell our preschool and the K-12 heads how to identify children who have a problem?
Yeah, first of all, one has to have a bit of a psychology as a base. Okay. So when I see a child who seems a little sad or seems a little different from what the others are doing, I don't jump to conclusions, but I watch. The teacher has to be trained to watch for any differences that could be there, because very easily at that stage, whether it is a preschool or a K-12, easily missed out. Okay, autism or cases of dyslexia or hyperactivity are missed out. So if they are trained, I do workshops for preschools and the K-12 where the sensitization of these teachers at that level takes place, and they're given these things to observe, okay, to keep a broad picture and a broad mind to watch everybody. And there would be maybe one or two cases where they seem to be not fitting into place, but give them time. There are late bloomers, so don't be in a hurry, but make observations of those who seem to be lagging behind, not only in their academic skills but emotional development and other aspects, so that eye for details gets missed out sometimes. And we get cases which, after class 2 or 3 are identified as having some special need. So I would say that if the parent is aware that there is something not okay, getting the child into any school, briefs the school that this is how it is and would require some special care, right? But the teachers, if they have some observations to do also.
Right. Beena Nangia,
Add in a
more than
bit here.
the child, what I
In a
would,
bit here.
what I personally feel is, it is difficult as a teacher or as a special educator. We have detected a case where a child needs special help, but parents are not convinced, that not willing to accept that their child is different or needs something more. How do you convince parents?
Yeah, Geeta, can I tell you that I began my career 30 years ago as a teacher in a preschool? Okay. And that is why I talk out of experience that for me, even though I was not a special educator or not even trained with special ed, I was able to sense that something is not okay. That's details like that. Eye for detail can come to anybody. You don't need to be trained. There is something that says that, okay, something needs to be addressed and I need to. Now, when you talk about sensitizing parents, we do not jump to conclusions. We watch, we observe, and then finally, when things don't move so fast at the end of the year, we say, okay, can we all sit together and discuss about something that needs to be added? There is a way of doing it,
Parents don't accept it. And the
Geeta,
moment
no, Geeta, parents
Geeta, what happens is,
accept, Geeta, 1 minute. They accept it if it is put in a very professional and right manner. Sometimes that information is just given to them, can shock them out of their life, right? So we need to have professionals coming in who would put it across to them in their own nice, simple, professional way. So that is how it
Thank you so
is.
much, Beena Nangia. I think Aruna Singh, you wanted to say something on this?
yeah, actually, I wanted to say something over here. The best part is, that is the reason, the lower the classes, the ratio should be very less. The teacher-student ratio has to be very less, the lower the classes.
Absolutely. Correct.
Once you go into a higher level, it's okay. You can manage with them. But with these younger ones, you need to be really into them, with them, and for them. So it
And
becomes,
observe them. Yeah. There's a smaller
observe them. For
number.
observation, you need
You need a
that
smaller number.
space. You
Correct.
need that smaller numbers. So this is very important, and I have come across many of the schools, even we also do the same thing. We have a very limited strength in our each section for the same purpose, that we don't want it to be crowded. We don't want them to be piled in there. They are not some herd, where you push everybody into a class.
Absolutely. Well, we
Yeah,
have come-
Geeta, I like to add one more point.
Yeah,
Sensitization of teachers who are dealing with these kids who come in with, some experience that they're going to go to, which is like so strange for them, need to be sensitized as to how to deal with them correctly for their emotional the health and emotional well-being. That is what I feel.
I would
you
add
so
one
much.
more thing over here, a small thing. Sorry about
Yeah.
this,
We're
but
running
I
short
cannot
of
keep
time.
quiet.
Make it short.
I
Yeah.
cannot keep quiet. One thing is very important. We have to look at the mental health of the teacher also.
Yes,
At times what
Absolutely,
happens, she is going
absolutely.
through a lot of things on her back, but she has to put that facade in front of her, which will not be true always.
And which will be
Right.
detrimental to the kids. Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Exactly.
you
So
so
it
much.
can
Thank
be
you.
a deterrent to the actual behavior that is required.
I think
So we
we'll
have
need,
to look at all these parameters to
yeah,
have the
we'll need
child
to
a
run
healthy and a happy
a
child.
beautiful session. A lot of takeaways from today's program, and I'm sure parents viewing this session would understand that their child is unique, and a unique child needs a
Absolutely.
unique environment. It's up to the parent to decide exactly what the child needs. So whenever they visit the school, if they take the child with them and see the way child responds to a particular
Agreed.
place, that would give them. And the most important thing, after a child has started going to a school, thumb sucking and bed wetting or any other behavior which was not there earlier, if a parent sees that, that's a cause of concern. Thank you
Exactly.
so much. It's been a wonderful session,
Thank you for
and
having me.
Thank
we
you.
will
Thank
meet
you.
again soon. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
all of you. Thank you.